What's the shittiest way a friend has shown you they weren't really your friend?
Lied about me at our government job where I was investigated by the AG and ultimately caused me to leave a job and a boss I loved. She quit when we found out it was her who lied, as she knew my boss would can her ass. Oh, and I'm the one who got her hired.
My best friend since middle school got me knocked unconscious after starting a confrontation with a large group of guys. Proceeded to tell everyone we worked with that I had started it. Few weeks later I had returned from a holiday to my home country and he had moved one of his friends into my room at the place we were renting. Never talked to him again.
A friend was moving internationally. He offered me a fridge and washing machine for about half price. I was in uni, but desperately needed it. I told him I had like $20 PW to work with and he was cool with it. We agreed to $15 per week for a year. 6 weeks later his girlfriend comes around to tell me he wants to take me to court to get the rest in one payment. I get served and go to court and present the original agreement. His girlfriend says he needs the money urgently and the judge says that don't mean shit. He then calls my dad and says I stole his shit. Dad calls me and I lay it all out. Dad ends up paying him the remainder just to get him to go away. Fuck you with a pineapple, Toby, you cunt. Promised to invite me to a group outing, only to text me one day out of the blue that they already left, and oh well. From mutual friends who went on the outing, they told me that this friend never told them that I was invited.
I had a very close friend in high school. She moves to Alabama for uni after we graduated, but we kept close. When she came back we didn't talk much, but I still considered her a close friend. We went out for coffee about 2 years ago. She kept asking me about my life and my goals and I said I was happy where I am. I coach gymnastics, and my boyfriend and I will eventually take over his family farm, and start our own family. She texted me 2 days later and said, hey, so my entrepreneur friend is hosting a workshop, do you want me to sign you up? I said no, but thanks for the offer. She then texted me, so clearly we are at two different points in our lives. You have no goals or ambitions, and I don't want that kind of negativity in my life. I wish you the best, and I never spoke to her again.
It was my 17th birthday. I had invited 2 of my best friends to stay the night. I waited for hours and finally got a text saying they got in trouble. They were twins, and couldn't stay the night. About an hour later they were tagged in pictures. They were at another girl's house. I confronted them the next day and they stuck with their lie and said their mom wouldn't drive them because they were in terrible, so they walked to this other girl's house. My mom asked their mom because she knew how hurt I was. She didn't even know about my birthday. And they weren't in trouble. I stopped hanging out with them. Learned a few months later that one of them had decided she didn't like me because her 20-year-old crush, another friend's brother, had said it was a shame I was a minor because he thought I was cute.
Invited me to her wedding as a gesture of reconciliation and then uninvited me when I RSVP'd, or in other words, responded to her invitation. Also, another friend took me out to lunch and let me cry to her after I broke up with my ex. She said she had to go to her mom's for a while and she'd be back that evening with treats and a red box. She ended up hooking up with my ex.
We were friends since babies. Our moms worked at the same place. My mom saw him as her own child and frequently he was at our house after school. Because her mom was kind of absent. His family moved out of the state, but we kinda kept in touch. Then he came back while we were on our 20s. My mom was going to start remodeling the house. He insisted on helping us since he was working with a construction company. Long story short, he said he needed some money for the construction permits. In hindsight, it wasn't even that much, but he took the money and we never saw him again. He even blocked me on Facebook. We later found out that the permit costs was a fraction of the money he took. Biggest pain in the heart was watching my mom crying. Disappointed that her own son would do that to her. So fuck him. Edit. Hey guys, first of all thanks for your comments. Since many of you mentioned addiction, I'll tell you that for a while we remained cautious about his motives since we found out that he left his job suddenly. But since years later his grandma, yes, old sweet lady, went to jail because she and another woman defrauded hundreds of their colleagues. We just realized it was maybe in the genes. In 8th grade, after I switched schools, a friend of mine called me one night and told me a kid I wanted to be friends with killed himself. 3 months later I visit their graduation ceremony and find out he lied to me and that the kid was still alive. After 25 years of friendship, I announced to my best friend that I was moving to the city she was in. I had a great job opportunity and felt like it was an awesome time to make a big life change. I was so excited to tell her. I could hardly wait. She flatly replied with, "Cool, and when I asked her what parts of town I should look at to live, she stated, "I can't help You should just figure it out when you get here." We never had a fight. Had been close for our entire adult lives and I had continually helped her in all aspects of her life without hesitation. To this day, I cannot tell you why she started treating me this way. Long story short, we live in the same city and haven't seen each other in 6 years. And I'm quite sure we live minutes away from each other. I will never know what happened. Going over to their house to hang out and finding around 10 of my missing Xbox games in a loose stack of discs in his living room. Arriving late to a friend's birthday party a few years ago. The birthday boy introduced me as the guy the first was telling you all about. Cool dude, but I wouldn't trust him with my wallet. Quote, he was drunk and it wasn't a joke. I had a girlfriend break up with me and tell me how my roommate would send her dick pics, call her on weekends, drunk dial her etc. to try to get her to fuck. These are the ones that come to mind right now. Had one friend that bought a bunch of tickets for a midnight movie premiere for myself and our entire friends group. About 15 of us. Day of the show. He texts me and says he forgot to buy a ticket for me. I ask, "What do you mean you forgot to buy my ticket? Of the 15 you bought, how is it my ticket that you decided wasn't purchased?" Quote, turns out, he did buy a ticket for me included in the 15 he bought. But he just met a girl the week prior and decided to give my ticket to her. So our entire friends group went to the movie. Minus me. There's other things he did to me as well. We're no longer friends. It turns out that he lied about every single thing. We were friends for over a year, but it felt like we'd known each other forever. He would always make it a point to let me know that I was someone he trusted, and that I was the only person he had. He would tell me that everyone leaves him, that he always hurts people, and my response to this was to make sure that I would never leave his texts unanswered, and promise to be there for him no matter what. One day, out of the blue, he tells me that our friendship is over. I remember feeling like my heart was shattered. I cried for weeks, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. Our mutual friends assured me that he had a very good reason for doing this, and he'd be back to being my friend soon. So I began waiting, constantly worried about him. He told all our mutual fiends what was wrong, except me, and instructed them not to let me know. Finally, my best friend calls me one day and tells me that he's lied to every single person he knows, and nothing we thought we knew about him was true at all. Turns out, he told everyone that he'd been diagnosed with cancer and had to take time away from everyone. During our friendship, he opened up to me about his extremely abusive household, and most of our friendship was me letting him know that he deserved better and I'd do anything to help him out of there. None of what he said was true. The truth came out because one of my friends caved and called his sister to find out how he was doing. She was confused because he was absolutely healthy. And when asked about their parents' separation, she confirmed that their parents were indeed together and were never at risk of divorce.
Friend found out I had cancer. She took me out to eat. She then took me to a MLM presentation.
My 16th birthday, I invited my friends over for a party including dinner. I spent all day cooking with my dad and made beautiful chocolate mousse cups in chocolate bowls. I went all out and I was so proud of the meal. I told everyone that dinner was at 6:30. Nobody showed up until 8:30. They were completely stoned and had a bag of toys from Dollar Tree. I had already cleaned up and put away all the food. They had all been hanging out without me on my birthday and I was still an afterthought. She invited me over to hang out. 35 minutes in she was like, "I will be right back," gets in the car with her boyfriend and leaves me at her house with her kid siblings. She fucking tricked me into babysitting. Edit. Wow, I woke up to so many upvotes and awards. Thanks Redditors. I do want to say, I was 16 at the time. I was really nice and naive. The kids I unknowingly babysat were really good kids and their nice mother was at work. They don't deserve to go through CPS because their sister was an ass. I eventually told off the friend after graduation. I didn't realize until more situations like this that she was just using me. I just wanted friends. Mid-2000s he tried to paint me as a porno king in high school just to get a girl not to like me. 'Cause he had a crush on her. Backfired. They immediately came up to me, asked me about it, and I said I only had one Playboy mag. My ex got with two of my friends after a pretty bad breakup to the point where it just seemed like she was trying to hurt me and my so-called friends were willing to do the same to get some action. So I was in the car with a third friend on Thanksgiving Eve telling him how much this was affecting me, to which he replied, "That's so shitty, man, I'd never do that to you." Well, that Christmas the very next month another friend shows me a picture of that friend and my ex together on Instagram. They started dating shortly after that. My friend, we live on Est, texted my roommate, owner of the condo who was living in California at 5 o'clock in the morning PST, to say I was high on meth and having sex parties every night. I was fast asleep. Turns out he was the high one texting so early. He was upset at me about something I stood up for and tried to make me homeless. Reason: we were at a bar, he was very buzzed and high sitting at a table, and my other friend and I literally just got there just in time to miss a big disagreement between two other friends, and he was pumped up to fill me in, but the way he snapped his fingers and slammed the table to demand me to sit next to him was too much. I said, "Let me get my first drink first, then I'll walk over, don't snap your fingers and demand me." That escalated quick, where he threatened to tip the table over. It was ugly. I drive 6 hours one way twice in the span of a year to visit this fucker because I thought we were friends and he acted like we were. It cost me $300 each time to visit him, but he was alone in his new city. He moved away for his first job post-uni and kept messaging me saying I should come visit blah blah blah. Later I find out this guy has came back to my town multiple times and didn't hit me up once. And he stayed for months at a time. Then I tell him about this and he says okay, he'll visit next time he's back in town. So then next time comes around and he stops by literally right before he's about to drive home to say hi for 5 minutes. Like, dude, you don't want to see me, why are you just going through all this BS and making me waste my money?
If you enjoyed this video, Please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.